Hi, everyone. I'm Jason Morgan, editor of Fleet Equipment. Welcome to Fleet Equipment Unscripted. Today, we're talking with Jason Hedman, J-Pro product manager with Noregon. Jason, good to see you. How you doing? I have to say, you get the award for best shirt on the show. I am horribly jealous. I'm going to also go put my Slayer shirt on right now.
Well, you should. We Slayer fans stick together, right?
It's we're going to go completely off script and just talk about Slayer for the rest of the
We could do that. We could do that, man.
minutes.
Yeah, it's wear your favorite band shirt day, and of course Slayer.
Man, awesome. That's I'll have to pitch that to our management. I like that. I'm usually not for like a spirit kind of day, but I am for that. I can go for that. I would get used
I
to
don't think I'm going to win any contest with it, but
Well, you got my vote.
Okay, good.
What we're really here to talk about, just as exciting, is you have a new J-Pro release here that you have announced and that people will start utilizing. Want to dive into some of the heavy duty shop benefits that they're going to see in that and kind of walk through it. I mean, I caught you did a video on LinkedIn too. I can help share that and cross that here, kind of talking about the release. And I think even you noted that, yeah, software updates, they don't sound like the most exciting, earth-shattering thing in the world.
Yep. A lot of the time they're not. Sometimes there's some really cool stuff. But when it comes to technicians, they're, salt of the earth and hardworking people, and they care about content that's usable for them, right?
For sure.
They're going to help me fix a truck.
Yeah, solve a lot of headaches. So in that regard, less headaches is a huge deal. So want to talk about that. So real quickly, can you share a few specific instances where you can clear up some of the truck service headaches with this new update?
Well, of course, we have been focusing for a couple of years on emissions. That's one of the big issues in the industry is emissions. It's not a secret.
Nope.
And we focused on that, and we got some of that stuff into this release. But we also added some parameters, fleet parameter settings, right? So, what's one of the first things that shops do when they bring trucks into a fleet? They adjust all these parameters. And we've had road speed settings and cruise and idle times for a while. But there's more than just that. There's PTO and vehicle speed settings. So all this stuff revolves around, the safety headaches and economy headaches. So adding that to the software was a big deal for all of our independents and our fleets, alike.
For sure. Can you walk us through the updated fault guidance? I know this is kind of an evolution of a product that we checked out earlier this year at TMC as well. What's new to it, and how are you evolving it as your users are implementing and using it?
Well, we're known for having one of the easiest user-friendly interfaces, right? And we're just constantly, it's not always perfect, but we're constantly evolving it to be better. And one of the things we did was eliminate the hunt and peck that they were having to do to launch fault guidance, right? So a truck has a fault, what do I do with it? So it now will only show up when there's a fault on the truck that we support and link them to it. But it also kind of separated the fault guidance from the next step repair, which is not fault related. It's, there's some other complaint with the vehicle that has no fault, and the end user is going to have to go in there and enter in more information manually. Was it, white smoke, power complaint, whatever. So we kind of divided those two up and made it easier for the user to understand what it is that they're trying to do. Is this a fault related thing or is it a complaint related thing?
I see. Okay. And it still kind of gets you just whatever path you want to take to get you to that end fix.
Yep.
Okay. Very cool. Because I had a chance to check out the next step at TMC back when the world was normal and we used to go places. So I'll be sure to share that here in this story as well, because it is a cool system to walk through to kind of get a bearing on that complaint side of things. Another big bullet point for this release, medium duty support. Right, so kind of getting down to those vocational applications, those service instances. Kind of on some of the back story of that, what were some of the challenges in creating the tool for those engines and duty cycles as different as they can be from over-the-road Class 8?
This actually is a really good question. It's one of my favorite questions because the manufacturers don't make it easy for the technician, right? Matter of fact, I got an escalation today about one of these medium duty trucks and somebody trying to connect to it. The problem is in these medium duty trucks, they have in a lot of cases, both connectors, an HD connector for heavy duty and an OBD connector for the light duty components. And technicians don't know which one to use. And even when they do, sometimes things don't function the way they think they should. So when we've had occasion to help influence a manufacturer when they're in the process of building a truck, we'll influence them to try to use one of the connectors only, whatever that means, gateway through that connector. And we've been successful a little bit in that, but we still at times don't get that option, right? So, just getting the user to understand what components are on what connector, are they heavy duty, are they light duty, medium duty? In this update, we added, support for Freightliner vehicle with a GM engine. Now, Freightliner is moved more towards, in at least one version of those vehicles with a PSI engine in it, they move to a 9-pin connector only, which is good. I don't know if they're going to do that for their GM engines. They still may have a GM, and a PSI is just a rebranded GM engine, really. So I think they could probably do that same thing if they chose to. And if they do, well, it'll be easier for the technicians. Otherwise, we're going to try and figure out a way around it. We're being pushed to do that. The problem with that is because, medium and heavy duty trucks communicate very differently. If you introduce a message or a request on the data bus, it can throw this truck off into the weeds. For example, when I was a tester and I was out in the field testing, I was hooking up to school buses in a bus garage one day, and I had been outside in the yard hooking up to some medium duty trucks. And just by auto default, I was just hitting that medium duty button, and I hit it on this school bus, and every siren and alarm went off on the bus all at once, and of course probably scared every technician in the shop half to death. But it's because I sent that data bus into frantic frenzy. So you got to be careful when you're doing this kind of stuff, because a manufacturer could make a change that we don't know about, and we have to figure out a way around it, because we all of a sudden we weren't doing something wrong, and now we're doing something wrong. So, right. Like I said, you get me started talking about this stuff, I'll talk to you all day.
Okay, well, because I guess I didn't realize the different plugins for the heavy duty and light duty components. How varied is that manufacturer to manufacturer? Are there any guiding lights for you plug in definitely for this over here, or you plug in definitely for this over here, or how do you help? How do you help?
Well, there is. If you got Wabco brakes on on one of these trucks and they got a 9-pin connector in it, you're going to connect to that 9-pin connector, right? It's a heavy duty system. Okay. Allison transmission, that's one of those hit or miss. Sometimes they put it on an OBD2 connector, and sometimes they put it on a 9-pin. But the good thing about JPro is you plug into one or the other, you're going to get information in either place, and we're going to kind of guide you on that information. Right.
So then when you're dealing with that light duty side, which is kind of new territory, right? How does some of your history and being able to understand the nuances of the Class 8 world play into some of the light duty stuff to bring some knowledge there?
Well, it's more about the fact that in the light duty world, their ECUs don't like to talk. And you have to ask them for information. In the heavy duty world, everybody talks all the time, all the stuff that's on the data bus. So we've learned a lot of lessons, about what to listen for, what not to listen for, what data we need to request on the light duty side. And we've learned a lot, and I think the thing is the light duty world is coming to a more medium duty architecture. And it's coming quick. Most of the European manufacturers are pushing that a lot. You'll see a lot more OBD2 looking connectors or HD OBD connectors, but they look just like an OBD2 connector. So it's helped us, know who to ask and what to ask, and when not to.
Right. We've talked about a number of things here, being so close to this software and putting it together and pushing out the update. Any other features or anything of note that you think technicians should definitely check out and play around with, dive into?
Well, we've got, the educational features in it that I really, I think go unnoticed. I know we report on them and you guys have reported on them. It kind of flies under the radar that we've got, FMI definitions built into our software to help the technicians. They don't know what FMIs are in a lot of cases. Or it's like me. I forget half of what I've learned. If I learn one new thing or two new things, I forget five.
Right.
And I think most technicians are the same way. So we've been building stuff into the tool to help them. FMI assistance, fault status assistance, because statuses have gotten, bigger and more. So we just used to have two types of statuses in the heavy duty world, active and inactive. And now we've got all these HD, OBD statuses that come from the light duty world. So there's all these different statuses that, technicians have no idea what they mean. And why can't I clear this fault? Well, it's because it's in this status that's coming from this cycle of the engine running through, test cycles and making sure, I'm okay now. I don't need to have that light on anymore.
Right.
We got, a glossary of industry terms that I think flies under the radar. Every manufacturer has their own flavor of whatever it is. DEF, DENOX, reagent. There's 3 names for those different things, 4 names, and technicians get confused by it. So we put that stuff into the software to try to help them. Right. Those are the types of things that I think typically fly under the radar, and I think it's an important part of the software, right? We're trying to educate the user and elevate the user in any way we can. So
right. And a huge benefit. I mean, especially when many fleets, vast majority are running mixed fleets, right? Getting that terminology just to make sure you're on the same page, not just for the technician and your shop manager, but then communicating that with the fleet and the customer and everybody. I mean, just the communication alone is important. Never mind the also important fix.
Yep.
Very cool. Oh, go ahead.
That was it.
Okay.
I could probably talk some more, but then I'll run out of time.
No, fair enough. I do have one more very important question for you.
All right.
Favorite Slayer album?
Red in Blood.
Okay.
Or all of them. I mean, I
know. I think mine is Seasons in the Abyss. I
love that one too. I'm not a big fan of their newest stuff, even though I've been forcing myself to listen to it. I drive a long ways to work every day, so I get a long time to listen to different music. And it's Slayer's on heavy rotation, but I'm into metal period, so there's a heavy rotation on lots of stuff. But
for sure.
Out in Heaven's good too.
Well, one quick thing I'll indulge, because if anyone's with us at this point, then they're really into it too. But I got at least Slayer is always Slayer to some degree. You know what I mean? Like it's always pretty much Slayer.
I saw them back in the day, 92, 91.
Yeah.
They melted my face, and then I saw them. I've seen them about 5 times in the last 6 years, and every single time is that me and my stepson have been to a bunch of these concerts lately, and every single time they melt your face off, and it's what you came there for. So.
Yeah, no, they put on a good show.
Yep.
Jason, always appreciate catching up with you. Great to get the info on the J Pro update, and we'll be in touch soon, I'm sure.
All right. Thanks for talking to me.
Take care.